So, Tom asks, what do you think a wrestler if he becomes a canine?
For my amusement, can you repeat that again?
It says, asking what he thinks about a wrestler who thinks he's a canine.
I think it's a great gimmick, but I think Tom's going to be privy to the fact that it's obviously going to be quite an in-demand persona, and I think if Tom's floating those ideas around, he should be the one to implement it.
All I'm going to say is what he said after that, and I'm going to roll the intro. It says, that's a bit rough. Let's roll that intro.
Yes.
Do you know, all day I've been trying to figure out how to implement that question into this interview, and I have no idea.
Yeah, the typical Tom to ask the tricky questions. Yeah, for those who don't know, Tom's a massive dog enthusiast. He's notorious for being backstage, just going crazy with the barks. So I think that's probably why he's asked that one.
Tom, hopefully that answers your question, bud. Scott, how's the week been, mate? All right?
Yeah, it's not been too bad, mate. Bit sore. Wrestled on Monday in a tough one against Chris Ridgway. But it was a lot of fun. And yeah, now I'm on the mend. Saw the 9 Inch Nails last night, so things can't be too bad, mate.
I saw that on your Instagram. That looked like a really, really good concert.
Yeah, man, I was sick. Probably one of the best concerts I've been to be fair. I'm a sucker for light shows, and wasn't many better than that one. So yeah, pretty sick, man.
Absolutely. Have you been coping with the heat? Because I know a lot of people have been struggling with it.
I didn't mind it too much, to be honest, but I was in a t-shirt though, and we were right up in the heavens, me and the missus. But yeah, can't complain too much.
Not at all, not at all. So yeah, mate, we're talking about obviously your career in wrestling. Like I said in the thing before we came on the air, anything we asked, just say next question, move on. Let's start at the beginning, mate. How did it all begin?
Channel flicking. I'd played the WWE games, SmackDown versus Raw 2009, 8, one of those two. Got to throw people off Hell in a Cell. Was like, this thing rules. My mate showed me Jeff Hardy jumping off the Rawtron. I was like, that's sick. And then I played the games for quite a bit. And then what ended up happening was WWE Superstars was on Sky One. And I think the first match I ever saw, I can't remember if it was something like Mike Knox versus Goldust or Shelton Benjamin versus Mike Knox. I can't remember, but it was something to do with Mike Knox. I was like, this is really cool. And then I begged my parents to get the Sky Sports channels. And yeah, the rest is history. I was pretty much like, I guess basically just watching on loop endlessly for like the opening 3 years of watching WWE. So I'd record it, and then I'd watch that recording about 2 or 3 times because I was a bit too sucked in, if anything.
So how do you go from watching it as a fan to basically being a wrestler yourself?
So funny story. I actually tried to start a bit earlier than when I did. I started in a place in Runcorn, which wasn't, a decent launching pad. But I actually tried to go to the All-Star School initially when I was about 13. What ended up happening, they had like a call line, I think it was. I got my dad to ring it because I was too shy to obviously ring it myself. I got no answer. And we actually drove to where the training was supposed to be. And looking back now, I don't think training would have been on because it was like peak camp season. So we went there, and then I just kind of figured that the school didn't exist. And then after searching online for like forums and browsing deep into the internet, I found a little school in sunny Runcorn.
And what was that school? Tell us about it.
It was the Runcorn Wrestling Academy. Started there. Did an American gimmick. Debuted definitely too early. And learned the fundamentals, I guess. But to be honest, I think where I really kind of like learned in wrestling was under Zach Gibson. So I trained under Runcorn for a little bit, and then started training elsewhere. So Zach was teaching at Future Shock, and like it's not to like throw away what Runcorn taught me, but at the same time, in terms of who I am today, I think more of the credit lies on the side of training with Gibson. But anyways, he was training at Future Shock, went there for a couple of sessions. And what ended up happening was he was actually opening a school called Infinite. So basically I'd get the bus to St. Helens, and then Infinite was probably like my first like proper launching pad really in terms of a school.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at some of your Future Shock matches and stuff like that. I mean, you've been in the ring with obviously some incredible people. Sam Bates, Lance Rivera, HT Drake, I mean, Kid Like Us too. I mean, is any of them what stick out for you?
I guess like this is gonna sound like really nerdy, but when I was younger, I used to look on all the old forums. So obviously, Cage Match has been going for long enough. I used to be a religious viewer of Cage Match, and it sounds like I think when you go into wrestling, some people will go like, "I need to get to WWE and be WWE champion, or I'm a failure." Whereas this sounds quite daft, but like my expectations and like my hopes, etc., was just kind of like, oh, I'd love to be like a Future Shock, because because you got to realize like Gibson was like my trainer, and that's where he was doing really well at the time. So like my mini goal was to do well on those companies. So Bailey was probably the one that stands out. More like on a personal note, just because he was someone that I did kind of look up to. Obviously, I'm not scanning Cage Match religiously anymore, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I think that one on a personal note probably meant more to me. The Lycos match was a lot of fun too. Lance is really, really good. Probably one of the more underappreciated guys out there. One of my all-time favorites I had with him at Wrestle Island in a match that I got fired from and then brought back the next show.
I'm just looking further up, and one which caught my eye straight away was Heath Slater. How did that
Yeah,
come about?
Heath was a cool dude, man. He was such a cool dude. Such a nice guy. He was really, really giving, and I think sometimes when you get booked against someone like that, I think sometimes you can kind of go like, I don't know, is he gonna want to do tons? But to be fair to Heath, he was well up for everything, and he was just a really cool dude to be around. I remember like one instance of I'd done the match, and there was just like a circle of like the Future Shock lads, and he was just giving them a big speech and hyping them all up, and just generally being a lot nicer than he had any need to be, really. And that does kind of stick with you. So yeah, Heath's a really cool dude. Yeah, it was a cool opportunity, that one.
I'm going to mention the name Shaggy Skylander. Can you tell me the story behind this?
That's not me. So I don't know why you're asking that question. I ended up on some weird 70s show, 80s show. And I don't know how to be in those situations, so I ended up with Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, and it was the only one that I thought was applicable, I guess, and here we are, getting asked about it on an interview.
I'm just looking through it, and I'm just like, it's the first thing I saw. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to ask this one.
Yeah, rightfully, mate.
The other promotion, obviously, you're well known for is obviously Atomic Pro Wrestling. How did that obviously all start?
So like Atomic, I probably owe a lot more to Atomic, probably than anywhere else. Mostly from the aspect that I think in terms of the stuff that I'm doing at the minute, I think a lot of it kind of comes from there, and them kind of giving me the liberty to do it. I'm good friends with Declan McCarthy, who helps out with the running of Atomic, because I knew him from like Fighting Spirit days. And And I don't think initially the plans were for me to kind of go in and be the top dog. So what ended up is like I was like the opener guy. So like they wanted me to kind of me and Son of Destin had the first match. And they told us to have like a really strong match to start off Atomic. So we were like the first ever match in Atomic. And because that one was so good, they ended up going, oh, let's have his thing be that he's having these really good openers as like his little thing. And then because I ended up building momentum and then they were getting a lot of like really good feedback from like people that knew in the crowd about the stuff that I was doing, it kind of ended up in a situation where I can end up going on a bit of a roll there. But yeah, Atomic I owe a lot to. Mostly just in the aspect that like there was I went away for a bit and I came back and I wanted to do a shtick but never really had the full confidence in doing it. And it was Atomic that I was actually the place that I actually kind of I wasn't telling anyone I was doing it, but did it, and it actually ended up taking off. And I think a lot of the momentum I've got at the minute kind of all starts from Atomic booking me, but then not also booking me, but giving me the ball as well. So yeah, Atomic's a special place. And I think the biggest testament that I can say to Atomic, universally amongst the wrestlers, they all love it there. And I think that's always a good sign. So yeah, really special place.
Absolutely. And what's that like for you personally? Like you said, there being obviously the top champion.
Yeah, it's a cool opportunity. It's cool to be a champion, but it's also not one of those things that like I kind of like think my shoulders are bigger than what they are because of it. It's obviously nice to have that responsibility and to because like especially in the case of like Atomic, I've been champ for like well over like 400 days, so to have like that sort of run and have that sort of responsibility is quite nice to obviously. It's obviously nice to have that, but yeah, it's kind of cool.
Absolutely. So when we obviously put on Instagram, obviously some fans sent some questions in, and I'm just gonna. I can never pronounce this guy's name, but he wants to be called M. I'll just go with that.
Sure, cool man.
So he sent a 3-part question. So the first part was, how long have you been doing wrestling?
Started when I was 14, but the opening days of my wrestling probably weren't the strongest. Like I said, I don't think I should have been on shows at that point. Realistically, it was about 16 that I like properly started actually locking into it, I guess. So down to your own interpretation, either since I was 14 or 16.
Okay. Second part was, I don't know why he's asking this one, but it says, how old is he?
46.
Are you lying?
Telling the truth.
You don't look 46, mate. I'll be honest with you. You look a lot younger.
I'm not 46. I'm a bit hurt that you actually thought that could be the case.
I was questioning myself then. I don't know.
We'll knock it up to 56.
No. All right. Moving on. Next question. Next one was, who is his role model / idol?
2 for me. I don't really have a current one because I think as I've kind of got older, I don't know, you change a bit, I guess. When I started off in terms of a wrestling capacity, the ones that I had was Jeff Hardy because it was just cool seeing a guy being as crazy as he was, and obviously being as cool as he was. And then Jericho. Jericho was the one that like kind of like properly locked me into wrestling. I remember when he was doing the suit shtick, that was kind of like the real hook. Because on that first episode of WWE Superstars that I saw, they did like a recap of a promo that Jericho was doing, and he's like the world champ with the suit. And I don't know, when you're an angry teenager, and he was the bad guy, and he was the world champion, you kind of try to find something to relate in that to kind of, I don't know, pick your guy, I guess.
Absolutely. So, a couple more questions. Now, one was, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned as a wrestler?
Don't be afraid to fail. Because there's definitely been instances where I was afraid to fail, and it probably wasted time. Like, I think if I actually went for the shtick that I started doing at Atomic earlier, it would have gave me a bit more time. but obviously there was hesitance because you get a lot of people giving opinions on stuff, and some people approve of it and some people don't. But yeah, don't be afraid to fail. And also as well, I think if you got a vision in something, you kind of got to lock into it and just go for it. They're probably the biggest two, and then like from a training capacity as well for a third one, because there's always one that's been really important for myself is go and train as many places as you can. And that's probably one that I get quite a lot. Don't be one of those people that's just kind of locked into one school. You want to spread your wings a little bit, mostly because it's down to trying to basically get the best interpretation of what you want to do, but also hearing other people's takes on things is going to give you a better round circle in terms of making that.
Absolutely. Next one was, have you made any changes to yourself as a wrestler leading to your recent success?
Yeah, the shtick. And like with the shtick, the main thing that I did was try and stand out with it. So I think wrestling nowadays is really, 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 really quick. And there was like a period where I was trying to keep up with that. And then I kind of went, if I actually want to stand out, I'm probably best slowing it down. And this isn't like a bad thing either, but like a lot of like wrestlers nowadays try to wrestle like the Japanese style. That's like pretty much everywhere nowadays. And again, to try and make myself stand out, I kind of stopped doing that. Because like, don't get me wrong, like I think that's off school too. But I basically tried to create a shtick that was different to everything else. On top of the fact as well, I kind of wanted, the whole reason I started doing the long entrances is because I wanted a way to kind of make me stand out on the card to like neutrals as well, or for people that were seeing me for the first time. So the guy that takes a really long time on his entrance, for better or for worse, is something that they'll remember. And it's impactful and instantly gets reactions too. So that was another reason that I started doing that too.
Absolutely. There's another question here, but I want to save that for the end. You'll obviously explain why. The other part of that, obviously, question was, why using Nothing Else Matter as an entrance song?
It's a little ode to someone that I know, but then also as well, iconic song. I kind of wanted something that people knew. It's a song that I've got a lot of affinity for as well. So, yeah, it was a tiered one, but I kind of wanted that song that people could properly, because everyone knows it. So I wanted that song that everyone did know. I've come out to some mad songs thinking that they'll do all right, and like people just kind of go, "What the hell is that?" So I used to wrestle in a company called Just Do Wrestling, and the shtick that they gave me there was that I was supposed to suck. Essentially, I was supposed to be really, really bad, but I kept on winning. Which, as a young wrestler breaking through, is a rough shtick to get. But I was trying to pick the worst song, and I came out to like, I think it was like some pop Disney girl at the time. Like the song was like Fearless or something like that, and it was just like the biggest load of wham you've ever heard in your life. So I wanted to make sure that like I was doing the complete opposite of what I'd done in that company in St. Helens when I was a young kid trying to break through, and instead tried to find something that was a bit more relatable, I guess. You learn from experiences, don't you?
You definitely do stuff like that. So, next question is now, for people obviously who's not familiar with yourself, who is Scott Oberman the character?
I'd say Scott Oberman as a character is someone who's stuck in his past, and very egregious about his past, and basically uses that as fuel to not only define him, but I guess try and accomplish what he wants. So I'd say quite an emotional. The best way that I always kind of describe it is kind of like, the initial concept of it was kind of like a Raven meets like a suit Chris Jericho. But I kind of wanted to add my own twist on it. So like the promos that I do, I kind of like go quite emotional with them in terms of like my cadence on things. So like my voice will kind of break, and I know there's the lessons obviously of people like with their promos where they talk about talking like that calm, but like I didn't want it to be that. I wanted to kind of be it can be calm, but then it snaps, and then the voice breaks, and then he's screaming because the real him comes out, and like the mask drops. So it's a guy that tries to be calm, cool, and collected, and show that he's intact with his emotions, but he never really is.
I'm glad you said the promo thing, because that's the first thing I noticed when I was obviously looking into your character and stuff. And when me as a wrestling fan, I always think promos are obviously key because that sells obviously you as a character.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I've done 17 with Anti-Editor this year, and that's not including ones that I've done like on phones backstage for like I've done a bunch for Future Shock. Promos are something, and the reason I started doing these, this was another thing of me just trying to stand out. No one was doing promos at the time, like nobody. And I kind of seen an opening in the market for it on like the indie scene. So I've started doing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. Hence why Anti-Editor basically lives in my flat sometimes.
And what's he like?
Yeah, I've been really important. And there was a period where like I kind of shied away from them. So like I have a really weird voice. So I was born in Liverpool, but like I came from like middle class Liverpool, I guess. So I never really picked up like the Scouse accent, tons. So I kind of ended up getting like my voice conditioned by like Cartoon Network. So like as a kid, I'd be saying words like garbage and trash, despite the fact that like that's not something that we say in Liverpool at all. So I ended up with like this really weird voice, and like people kind of like told me to shy away from promos, despite the fact that I really like doing them. I got told to shy away from them because WWE wouldn't like me because I like this weird voice, which is kind of like a weird twist now because I know there's like British guys that they've actually asked to get more American with their voice. So yeah, the promos are really, really important, and I'm glad that it's something that I've really put the foot on the pedal for because it's helping me a lot, to be honest. And I know it's kind of helping me in exposure terms as well. So yeah, pretty handy tool to have.
Yeah, I mean, when you said Liverpool, I mean, there's some great talent in Liverpool, and the first person which sticks out for me is obviously Lizzie Evo. I mean, there's probably some incredible talent in Liverpool.
Yeah, there's tons. So Lizzie actually started with me in that school in Runcorn. She started a few months after me, so I've known Lizzie for quite a while. And Lizzie's probably, I think she's probably one of the best girls in Europe, to be honest. She's really, 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 really good. But going back to the Liverpool wrestlers coming through at the minute, FTM are two to keep an eye on. Two really, really, really talented lads. They're going to do really well. Even though Tom McCall does ask some bizarre questions.
I'll let you check that with me, Matter. Like I said, when he sent the question, I'm like, how the hell am I going to ask this?
Yeah, it's Tom McCall. He's a crazy cat who loves dogs. I don't know what to tell you.
It's brilliant stuff like that. So we kind of touched on some of your moments earlier, but what's some of your personal highlights when you look back?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm one of those people that I don't tend to like really like buzz off my own stuff that much. So I end up like weird like personal notes. Like for instance, like wrestling like a Bailey at a Future Shock. Like that's the stuff that kind of means stuff to me over like, I don't know, winning a belt or something. So I don't know, just kind of getting to wrestle with people that I looked up to, I guess. Yeah, a bit of a cop out answer, but at the same time, I don't know. I fall into a bit of a hole with that question.
Not to worry, not to worry. So before you obviously go out and perform and stuff like that, how do you get yourself into the zone, as I call it?
I just kind of think back on bad moments in life because obviously that's the shtick that I do, innit? That's kind of like my mental prep. I'm not really like a music headphones guy. So like usually like a minute before I go out, well, 2 or 3 minutes because I'm waiting for myself to walk out. I just kind of lock into the past, I guess.
Okay. How do you wind down after a match?
I don't really have a routine on that sort of stuff, to be honest. It's an interesting question. Like, usually keep my gear on for too long. That's usually a go-to. and then drink some water, and then I'm usually back on the phone to let my girlfriend know that I love her.
Oh, one of the funniest answers I actually had, and I still laugh at it now, was I like to go home and lay on the floor. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I can see people doing that. I have a really good gas tank, which is quite ironic that I do a shtick where I'm dead slow. But I have a really, really good gas tank, so I usually just walk back completely fine. I'm not usually one that kind of needs to like lie down. I don't have a stretching routine either. I have a pre-stretching routine, but not one post, which I probably should implement, to be fair.
Wrestling Snap says, evening 2025 is Scott Oberman's year. Absolutely killing it.
That's really sweet. Wrestle Snaps is they're really good to have around. There's a bunch of people like that. I put them in like the same categories like your Jebus as well, where it's like boss to have them around, because like not only did he give us content, but like obviously they give us like cool photos and reels, and I think in the age of content, having people like that's a blessing, really. So that's sweet to come from them. That's very nice. Thank you.
Jebus is absolutely incredible. I mean, his reels are so good. Even I'm like, I'm not even going to start doing them.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like I couldn't edit something like that. So yeah, Jebus is the man. Really, really cool guy to have around, to be honest. Because like there's a family that I've known called the Tatums. They've been taking photos of me since like the Runcorn days. Like I still see them like every single show. And like it's one of those like I've been using like when I started in Runcorn, because I don't think they had a photographer. I used to basically use them as my photographer. So without them, I wouldn't have had any photographic evidence of me wrestling. So like fans like that, where like they're like the diehards and like they're there all the time, like they're so important, and it's also really cool to have them around and have people that are that passionate about what we do, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever watch your stuff back? Because I know a lot of wrestlers don't.
Yeah, I'm the worst of that, man. I hate watching myself. I hate it so much. Yeah, it's not up my alley at all. I know it's something that I should do. Like I'll ask for feedback, but like also watching myself makes my skin crawl a little bit, to be honest. I'll watch sections back. So I'll go into matches sometimes and I'll try something and I want to see how it looked. There'll be stuff like that I try, but also I don't think I've ever sat there and watched a match with my girlfriend of mine. I don't think I could do it. I think I'd be curled up in a ball on the floor.
Everyone does it. Everyone's like, no, I can't watch it back. And it's just like, why? Do you know what I mean?
I can't, mate. I can't. Ever since I started as well. And to be fair, the stuff when I started was terrible. So there was good reason. But yeah, even still, I can't do it, mate. It's not for me. And again, it's an important thing to do, but I kind of like try to play smart with it and just kind of pick the sections just so I'm not dying via cringe.
Now, this next one I rarely ask people, but I want to obviously throw at you is how do you obviously being a wrestler and stuff like that, how do you juggle obviously family life as well?
Yeah, it's rough, man. Like for instance, like this week, so I do a full-time job, and the hours change as well. So I'm either like up at like 6 a.m. or like 7 a.m. or like silly hours, but then obviously you have to go to the gym as well. Then I've got hobbies outside of wrestling as well. It's hard, but at the same time, I think you've got to love wrestling to kind of be in on that sort of thing and want to do that. So sometimes I probably don't juggle it fantastically, but at the same time, I wouldn't really have it any other way. But yeah, scheduling and having a girlfriend who kind of helps me organize stuff helps a lot, to be honest. But
are you saying you're not organized?
I can be, but sometimes I'm definitely not. Like for instance, this week, mate, I've recently started using a calendar to try and get more on top of this sort of stuff. Like this week, so Monday I had a show straight after work. Tuesday I had 9 Inch Nails straight after work. Today I had this. I was actually supposed to be shooting with Ant some promos after this as well, which we push forward to next week, just because scheduling. Tomorrow I'm busy in the evening. Friday I'm doing a photo shoot. and this is all after like a full-time job and then having to fit the gym in as well. So I've had to get on top of the Outlook calendar to sort my life out of it because it's tricky, man.
So do you ever get time to yourself then?
I do sometimes, mate, but like not tons. I recently got a Switch too, and I've definitely not played it as much as I would have liked. I was one of those people that was desperate for it as well. On my lunch break and work, I was basically just religiously refreshing like the stock checkers, and I got one. And like, I think if I was good, because you can obviously see the hours you've put into like the games. I've probably put like 3 hours into Mario Kart, and that's about it, mate. It's devastating.
Wow. Yeah. By the end of the next year, you might have 6 hours.
Yeah, I know, mate. And the sad thing is, I love my football manager. Absolutely love my football manager. And I've had this save for this Crew Alexandra save that I've been doing for absolutely ages, but like I can never really get anywhere with it because like when I get time, I'll bust out a couple of games, and that's about it, really.
Brilliant. So, what's one thing you think when it comes to wrestling? What's one thing fans will never understand?
Fans will never understand. I don't know. I think fans are very much in on a lot of the stuff that we do nowadays. I think, yeah, it's a tricky question. I think they'll never understand how painful it is when you get the wrong wrist tape on Amazon, and then you have to rip it off, and it just rips all your arm hair off. I think that's probably a decent answer because that's brutal.
Something tells me you've done that.
Yeah, a few times, mate. I'm really bad for it. There's like certain ones that are the good ones, and then there's certain ones that are the bad ones, and they all look the same. So it's with me, it's just kind of shooting into the wild sometimes because I'll kind of do it like remembering last second that I need some. So yeah, my poor forearms have been butchered, mate. So that's something that fans will never understand, especially because I wear my tape basically up to my elbows.
I've just got the image of you like screaming in pain trying to rip tape off backstage.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Which again, I do the shtick where I'm dead on the inside, which doesn't reflect when I'm backstage sometimes.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Many injuries?
No, I've been quite lucky to be honest. Touch wood, because it's on a wooden table. I broke my floating ribs. And basically carried that injury around for like months and months and months and months. That was for like pretty much all of like 2024. Then at the minute, I've got like I started the year with like an ACG joint impingement, and I've got like inflammation around my shoulder as well, which is pretty much ongoing. But I couldn't really afford to take time off, knowing the kind of year that I was going to have. But minus that, mate, and like the little niggles I've had the past couple of years. No, not really, bud. None whatsoever. I've been really fortunate, to be honest.
Absolutely. So, you've been in the ring with some incredible people like that. Is there a top 3 you want to get in the ring with?
In terms of, did you say like in future tense or ones that I have gotten with?
Future.
I'd like to get in there with Gibson again because I've never had that singles match with him. And obviously, with the hand that he's had in helping me out, it'd be pretty cool to do. I just find this question kind of hard because, mate, like I just kind of love wrestling. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter who I'm in there with. I know some people go like, yeah, I'd like to wrestle Will Ospreay or other like incredible guys. But I don't know, I'm pretty easy. I think that instead of giving you 3, I'll give you 1, just in terms of like the sentimental value. Gibson, that's the one I want.
Okay. What about promotions? Any promotion you want to get to?
I'd like to get back into Progress. That's one that would mean a lot to me because the time that I did do it, probably wasn't in the best headspaces at the time. So that's one I'd like to get back into. North's the company I'd really like to work for as well. I think I'd probably kind of fit the vibe check there. So that's another one I'd kind of like to do. Trying to think of other places I like to work. I'd kind of like to get a bit more outside the Northwest because obviously the Northwest is kind of mostly where I'm situated, and I'm doing pretty well within it, I guess, in terms of like winning all the belts. So I kind of want to try and branch out post this little run that I'm on, just to kind of keep things fresh, I guess.
Absolutely. So a few little more questions, mate. Obviously, we begin to wind down and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's obviously a lot of people obviously want to get into wrestling. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I'll give you the cliche stuff. Find a reputable school, train loads of places, and make sure that you get good wrist safe. Otherwise, you're gonna end up screaming backstage like I do sometimes.
Make sure you buy the rate tape as well.
Yeah, exactly, mate. There's definitely foolproof things that I can do to stop this situation from happening, but sometimes I dig my own grave, to be honest, mate, and walk right into it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Zach Gibson a few times. What's the biggest thing he taught you?
I'd say the biggest thing that Zach taught me is just kind of how to make everything make sense, I guess. Yeah, Zach's taught me so much that it's actually probably hard to give you like one specific thing, but kind of making everything make sense and basically try to tighten up as much as you can so it all makes sense. That's probably like the biggest thing that I could give you in terms of like a structural sense, I guess.
Okay, so going back to obviously that last fan question as well, which and it's kind of a good one. It says, "What's one thing you want to accomplish this year?"
Probably branching outside the Northwest. That's probably like the one thing that I got locked in. I've been in talks to go back to some places that I've been before without kind of dropping too many hints. So that's interesting. But yeah, debuting for new places outside the Northwest is probably a big one. I've got like some fun stuff maybe outside of England coming up, so we'll see on that one. But yeah,
Scott,
outside the Northwest is like the one thing.
Awesome. Scott, this has been an absolutely incredible chat, mate. Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
It's been a blast, bud. Thanks for your time.
So I need a couple of things from you. So number one is anything you want to plug?
My socials is the Scott Oberman. I used to have it under like 2 or 3 different names, but it's pretty universal now. So the Scott Oberman. I've recently released my first ever merch. I held off on that one for quite a while. Send me a message on any social media platform. It is on my Twitter. It is on my Instagram. Go take a look if you're interested. Drop me a message. And yeah, that's about it. I've got some fun shows coming up. My socials are probably the best place to keep in touch with that because I'll share everything. I'll probably do a promo event for them. So yeah, stay tuned.
What we'll do is we'll put links in the description of this video so fans can jump from here straight to your Instagram and go and support you, mate. How's that?
Sick, bro. Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you very much.
No problem. So I need one more thing from you. So everyone I get to interview gets to do the outro for this show. So they can say anything they want. They can promote anything they want. And I will hit the outro. Scott, take it away.
For the outro, I will say Tom McCall is a top dog.